Okay, I gotta talk to Sarah for just a sec.
Are they arresting her? Are they coming to arrest her? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, we got episode 155.
Do you want to start the recording on the StreamYard as well?
I could do that as the backup as well.
Okay.
But I have it recorded locally, so we're okay.
Okay.
So it's not, I can't drive 55. We can't say that. It's I can't drive 155.
You can't drive 155. It's the match game episode.
Yes. It's a match game episode here. We're going to play a little match game today. Kind of, sort of. It was a topic that was brought up by one of the listeners of the show. And he's...
So here it is.
Yeah.
Smart Sally is so smart.
How smart is she?
She's able to match the right project with the right sim.
Ding, 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 ding. All right, yeah. So, yeah, he had a great topic discussion for us to talk about today. It was when you're going to start a project, how do you choose the game for that project? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. It's
a great topic.
It is, because it's something you never think about. It's just kind of there. It's like, I'm going to do this for my next project. But you know, now what game are you going to use? What engine? What sim you going to use? Cards and dice, PC, what is it? So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. It's something that just kind of goes unsaid. And I can't imagine that we've gone 154 episodes and haven't really talked about that. So that's a great suggestion.
I love that. By the way, as an old baseball fan, I should have known that episode 154 was the number of games played in the season prior to 1962.
I wouldn't know that.
I know you wouldn't know that, but several people kind of took me to task for that.
Yep, I think they. Well, you're the baseball guy. You play baseball all the time on your channel, so yeah, that's something that you should have figured out. But that's okay. But that's why we have the audience here to help us help us through the tough times.
They're all smart Sallies.
Yeah. So, anyway, hey, ways to get a hold of us. Digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is how to get a hold of us on the text line. Digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digital2dice. So, I guess we could get into what we're playing, and I think it's the word's out now, what we've been playing.
Yeah, I think we can talk quite a bit about what we've been playing as of late. For the last, how long have we been doing this? 6 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's well over a month now, yeah. And we came in a little bit late on the project because the project was going on already, and then they invited us in.
We started to play Stone Cold Hockey before the game was out was still in the pre-order stage. So we got access to the card and dice game in late August, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so we played that, and we're told that they were working on a PC version. And I think it was the last week of August that we got, download this. And so we did. And so I think it was right after we were playing the card and dice game offline, because I don't think we were even showing off the card and dice game until we had the PC game.
Yeah, I forget now. They might have just released the book. I forget how the timeline went.
It was, but we were given early release to the card and dice game, and right maybe within the first 2 weeks we were put on the list to play test the PC version. And so when we've been talking about what we've been playing, we've been quite tight-lipped about that because we couldn't really talk about it, because that's just a gentlemanly thing to do. Is if you're beta testing something, you're not saying. And so at the end of September, I asked Gary Brown when we'd be able to show off the PC game, and we were told about 2 weeks before release, which was this past week. And so I and Dave did world premiere videos, and the game is still tentatively scheduled to be released, and really should be released on Halloween.
Yeah, it was late. I'm looking back. It was late August, so it's been about a couple of months.
Yeah, so about 6 weeks. So about that. So I think you and I are both excited about it.
Yeah.
It is It is a Richard Hanna game, which means it's going to be extremely true to the card and dice version.
Yeah.
And so
it's pretty darn close. Yep.
Don't know what it's going to ship with yet. Don't want to make any promises about what it's going to ship with yet. I know that at some point, the 7 seasons that were made for the card and dice game will be released with the PC game, and that's what Dave and I have been playing with, and including an hour last night. And we've done both. You've done a couple games on your stream, and I think I've done 2 or 3 streams from it. And since the other thing I've been playing didn't work out this week, we'll be doing some more beta playing Sunday on my channel. But overall, it's been a very interesting experience to actually have. I mean, there's been a couple games. I mean, you've had some hands on stuff with shootout hockey. I think we can say that, right? I don't think anyone's going to get mad for me saying that about you.
I helped with the easy,
right? And is there anything else that you've worked on?
I did a little franchise hockey manager.
Franchise hockey manager,
way back in the day, probably 6-7 years ago.
And you've done some mods for Appa Hockey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, and, you know, I worked on some stuff for Glory Days Boxing, and, you know, we've all done mods of some sort.
Some suggestions of that up-tempo basketball, too, as well, with Brian over there.
So we've had a hand in making some suggestions on the games, but this is really the first time that we've both, Pro Strategy Football, we've had a hand in, too. I mean, and we pretty much know all the voices that are in that game.
Yeah.
Are people that are friends of ours, which is great. So, you know, we've had some, but this is really it's the first time that Dave and I have worked on a game together. And we've had Gary Brown on the show, and Gary is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Mm-hmm. And the first time that we've worked with Richard Hanna, and we both are huge fans of Richard's work.
Yep.
So the process of trying to take this game and port it over has been an experience all to itself, and it's all been positive.
Yeah, I was surprised at how far along the game was when we first got involved, because I'm not sure how long they've been beta testing it, but I was like, wow, this is really farther along than I thought. But I think what I did, as being the resident hockey guy, is I really kind of turned everything in that game into what was be considered hockey friendly.
Yes,
if you will, because there was a lot of things in there, especially in the box scores and the reports and the statistics and the displays. Just how it was laid out, it wasn't laid out in a hockey fashion. And so I hit him pretty hard. I'm not going to lie. I was, 10, 12 emails a day about this needs to be this needs to be that, this shouldn't be like this, and just saying this is how normal hockey stats work, and this is how this goes, and this is what should go first, and this is what should go second. And I got to say, 98% of what I sent, they've adapted into the game. So where the game is today from where it was 6 weeks ago, I don't want to say night and day, but I'm saying Richard has made a ton of changes, and I'd say they're all for the good. I mean, because when I saw the last version of the game, I was, wow, they've really taken a lot of the things that I've suggested and a lot of things you suggested and some of the bugs that we saw. And I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back by any means here. What I'm just trying to say is I thought I had really good idea and vision for what it should look like and what should be happening. And they took all those suggestions and put them in there. And again, it was it wasn't me just with my ego. This is like, no, I want to play this game, and so I want to see this like this, and I think this is what hockey people would want to see. And and this is not hockey. This is not hockey here. This is something else. Change this to make it like hockey, and that's what they've done. They've kind of taken everything. A lot of it was more like soccer. And I said, no, hockey is very
based on Dice United.
Yeah. So I said, we gotta translate this all to hockey. One of the things that I saw too was Jason was playing on YouTube. He was playing the board game on YouTube, and he commented on how this feels like Dice United, but it's so much more because it has so much hockey in it. He goes, he says, when he was playing the board game, he goes, I played Dice United and I really like it. And this feels like that, but it's so much more because it's so deep into the hockey. And he says that's what made that game fun for him. I was watching his video on YouTube.
I think what Gary's done, I mean, because I played the Legends of Boxing game. A couple times I've done the Legend of Tommy Tomato Can. So it's basically that mechanic. I haven't played Dice United, but certainly the boxing game, the mechanic is pretty much the same for all three games. Mm-hmm. But I know that when I do the fights, then it feels like a fight. Mm-hmm. And when I do this, it feels like you are sitting in the stands or watching on television a hockey game.
Oh, yeah.
Develop. And so on that thing, I give them a lot of credit because it's a lot like APBA and Strat in the regards as you know how the game is going to be played. In APBA, it's just numbers on the cards and you refer to the chart and it works. And in Strat, you have for the basketball and the football, which card mm-hmm. are you going to read off of? You're going to read off your offensive player's card, you're going to read off your defender's card, or you're reading off the team card. And so, but again, all that mechanic works for their games, and Gary has made this work.
Yeah.
And so, yes, every time that we've been given a new beta, and I think we're up to our 7th beta.
Oh, no, we got to be closer to 10 by now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That it gets closer and closer and closer.
And since we both did our videos,
right, there's been
so much more added to this. So tonight or tomorrow, me or you or both of us got to get another video up because what we showed off was great. And I can't wait to show off what has been added because they've added some things since just a few days ago.
Right.
And so, so it's really kind of taken shape.
And some of that came from feedback that you gave in our YouTube streams.
Yeah, some of that came right from the people watching the stream. They're like, hey, this, hey, that, and the other thing. Yeah. The one thing I don't know yet, people are asking about availability and price and all this other stuff and where can we buy it.
It's going to be through just going from the newsletter. The computer game will be sold over ASG Games.
Okay, so ASG Games is going to do that.
ASG Games will have it. I don't know the price. I don't know how much the season will be, and I don't know if the fictional unit I don't think will be part of it, although it may be released with that fictional lead that comes with the game itself.
Yeah, we haven't got word on that yet.
But unless something dramatic, I can't imagine, considering the state of the game now, that he would try to introduce that huge of a new feature before the release.
Yeah.
Halloween weekend.
My gut feeling is that what we showed off on the channel is what you're going to see in the game with the updates that have happened over the last few days. I still think they're going to hit their October 31st Halloween deadline if that's what they're shooting for. And I have a feeling that this game's going to come out. They'll squash a few bugs as people find them in there. And I really do think that at some point they will add the ability to create teams or create players or to add fictional into this game because the fictional is such a big part of the board game. And we've talked about this, offline a few times that I'm really intrigued in the fictional portion of this game. I don't know why. There's not many games I play that I really I want to play fictional teams. This happens to be one of them.
I think it just lends itself really well because there's no... obviously teams are rated on offense and defense, and so that kind of goes there. But you know where you're going on the chart, and because the individual play, once you roll for who has the chance, and again, it doesn't necessarily. It's not like a full pass-by-pass game where you want Wayne Gretzky to be like Wayne Gretzky. I mean, percentage-wise, the numbers are going to come out well, but it could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody, and I think it just sets that immersion and storyline in your head that yes, it can be, the Bay City Rollers that are coming out there to play. Yep. The good thing is though that because the regular game has been released, is that teams. The high-flying Edmonton Oilers are going to be the high-flying Edmonton Oilers. Right. And the Philadelphia Flyers are going to be genuine pains in the tuchuses when you play them. And I think that's the strength of the game that does well for both.
Yeah, I really like to just to wrap things up here with two last points. The fictional creation in the board game is so fun because you can create a team in 5 minutes or less, maybe 2 minutes. And you could just bang out 8 or 10 or 12 teams. You don't need to create all the players for them. You can just kind of create your generic teams and play your games and have your fictional league or your fictional division going. And what was fun about that is I created 2 teams, and they ended up being really bad teams. So I made Japan and North Korea, just named them, right? As it turned out, the North Korea offense was really low. It was like 4. It was bad, which would suit that. But
22 Canadians bad.
But
yes.
their goaltender, I rolled a 10. So they got this phenomenal goalie in the net that's keeping them in the games.
Okay, 19 Canadians. With Carey Price.
and that's what makes it fun is that you can just create this dud of a team with a stud goalie, or you can have this high flying team and a horrible goalie, and you can just as you roll, you just get all these crazy teams. It's just fun to watch them all play out. It really is. And the other thing I want to add is that everybody that's played this game, and I've seen the streams and I've seen the comments, and I'm talking the board game right now, everybody that's played this said this just feels like a hockey game. And that's the first thing that we said when we played our first game of this, and we played one period, and it was like, oh boy, I don't know where this game's going.
Oh, God. So what was the first scoring chance was on a D chart?
Yeah, and we were still learning the game at the time, and so we didn't know much about it. But it was like, well, that first period was pretty bad, and I says, I hope this game gets better. And by the end of that game, we were both hooked, and we couldn't wait to play the next one. And that's what this game is. And you get so much variation in this game. You can have a dud. You can have a dud game. And I think it was Jason that said he went 2 periods without a puck battle. It can happen. He said the 20-sided die was rolling low for 2 periods, so he never had a puck battle. And so I was like, yep, that can happen. So you get the ebbs and flows of a real hockey game. You get the games that are just going to be, quiet and no puck battles and no penalties. And you're going to get the games that's all puck battles and all penalties. And, we've had games that stamina's gone all the way down to 1. It can happen. And it doesn't happen much, but there was a game that I think it was the Bruins went all the way down to 1 on the stamina. It just and that affected everything they did for the rest of the game.
It matters.
So as far as anything else I played, I did get in a game of Spiders baseball as I try to wrap up that project there. That's just a fun, simple project there. But
what's their record?
Oh boy, I don't remember. They haven't got the 20 wins yet, but we are still. Yeah, it was still in August, I think. So we still got a ways to go. But their second half of the season was real bad because they were all on the road. So I've been skipping ahead a couple weeks and I play a game. And if I find a matchup I like, there's some teams I like to play. Like I like to play against St. Louis, and I like to play against Louisville. And
it's too bad that in OOTP you could headhunt. So that'd be fun with the Spiders because the Spiders were pretty much the discards from St. Louis.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun if you could it won't show you the fight. MLB doesn't want you to see that, but you could throw at people. That would be so much fun.
I think it'd be fun at some point if I could, redo that and then maybe have some people defect from other teams to the Spiders and see how good they could do. You know what I mean? Something like that.
You could do that in Pocket Pennant Run.
Yeah, I could do that or just, I think Strat, you can trade guys in Strat, right?
You could trade guys in Strat, too.
Yeah, I think I have it in Action PC, too, so I could poke around and play around with that at some point down the line. But so I want to kind of wrap that up in the next few weeks there because that was just more of a fun thing. So I play one and I sim a few, and I play one and I sim a few. Mm-hmm. So I did do that. And I do want to give an update on my Strat hockey order. I think it was last Saturday night, I went live and just did a chat, and I finally unboxed my Strat cards, which had the 72 Summit Series and then the 87 Team Canada and 96 Team USA. It had those 4 teams, and then I also ordered 72, 73 NHL, so I could have the Russians and the Canadians, have them play the 72 teams. Just I know they'd smash them all.
By the way, a little birdie told me, don't know who this was, a little birdie told me that possibly on the next Patreon event, you're going to see the Soviets and the Canadians play.
Oh, yeah, that might happen. That might happen, yep.
So if you're not a member of our Patreon, now's the time.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. But so when I did the unboxing, I was showing off the Russians and the Canadians, and I was all excited about that. And then I pulled out the 72-73 NHL season, and it turned out to be 74-75 WHA. And I was like, Houston, San Diego. There's no Houston and San Diego in the NHL. So they sent me the wrong season. And it was you who cursed me. You're like, you've had that 3 weeks. You got to unbox it. You got to open it because if there's anything wrong with it, you need to know now. Well, there was
no. The broadcaster's jinx is in reverse.
No.
If I truly jinxed you, you would have had not only the right things, but they would have thrown in, let's say, 21-22 with it.
No, you jinxed me. I got the wrong season. So I got 6 WHA teams.
Fault.
So So I
Choke on your pineapple.
So live on the show when I was on YouTube, I said, well, at least I have proof that I unboxed it here on the channel, and it is wrong. So they can't just say that I'm making this up.
No, they're very good.
So I emailed them the next day, and it just said, hey, look, I got my order in, and you can see that you sent me the digital files for 7273. Well, I got printed 7475 WHA, and that night they said 7273 is shipped and on its way, and it just arrived today. So they made good on it, and they let me keep the WHA. Obviously, they're not going to send 6 teams back, So yeah, so I just want to give a shout out to Strat that they made good on the mistake, and I got a bonus 6 WHA teams.
Cleveland wasn't one of those teams because you're Cheevers is the goalie for Cleveland.
No, he wasn't one of the 6, yeah. Now, I suppose if I wanted to, I could go and buy that season and get the digital files and what if. So maybe at some point I might, but I don't know.
You could do Gordy versus the Soviets, too, because that Houston team is loaded.
Yeah, that would be interesting, too.
And the Quebec team is loaded, too. There's all sorts of Canadians cast-offs on the Northeast. So.
But I think that's all I've been playing there. Just some more of the Stone Cold Hockey on the PC.
We'll do with that.
Spiders baseball, and then just got my Strat order in ready for that. So
okay, so the other thing I'm playing is actually going to dovetail quite nicely into the topic of the show. So I'm doing something different. Instead of just doing a top-down golf replay or a golf what if, in ASG Golf, I have made my own card. And I even got a picture in of my, I don't know why I'm looking at the camera, put my own picture in and doing that live stream. And so instead of focusing on the leaders on a given week, it is only me in a given week. And so I did the test of it last week. I did the first and last rounds of the Vegemite Down Under Open at Royal Melbourne, which I finished T11, by the way. I improved every day. Good. And this week, a viewer suggested I play Riviera in Los Angeles, which is one of my favorite courses. Mm-hmm. And so today, as we're taping this on Thursday, I played the first round yesterday offline and did terrible. And I knew I was going to have to grind today to make the cut. And I went out and shot a 467 and missed this cut by 1 shot.
Oh.
And when I had a morning tee time, and so when we finished, I played with Jack Nicklaus and Hal Sutton on the weekday rounds, and we all finished at 3 under, so we were all going to make the cut together. We were all going to miss it together. And so when we walked off to sign our virtual scorecards, we were T62 with a cut being at 70, and we finished T81.
Oh.
So at the end of the string going, I think we're going to make it. Like, nope. But
don't your stats and stuff compile, so aren't you getting better?
The stats compile, and so it's just like with anyone else. We're just going to have 6 rounds complete, or I'm just going to have 6 rounds complete instead of 8. And I think the interesting thing is, again, it's not necessarily. I mean, I tend to do top down game of the week type stuff, and so and something that you and I have talked about offline quite a bit is that when you watch golf on television, they're really only showing the leaders or the lead 2 groups, as opposed to just pick a golfer and watch. And so you get to see all the struggles, all the successes, and all the struggles. And I've been explaining my thought processes as I'm playing the round. And again, I mean, today I went out and shot a 4 under 67 today. That should be a very good round. I missed it by 1 shot. And I'll tell you exactly what happened because you were at the gym when I was doing this. So the 11th at Riviera is a par 5. And what did I do on my tee shot? I think I dunked it. I just missed the fairway left. Okay, not bad. It's a 3-shot par 5 anyway. I've got my aim point about 75, 80 yards short of the hole, so I can spin a lob wedge in and try to get out with a 4. Birdie 4, thinking 4 all the way. Well, I must have rolled the wrong die because my second shot hit. It tells you that you should not hit a tree. Well, guess what? I ripped my second shot left, hit a tree, and it moved all of 5 yards.
Oh.
And so when I go to play my third shot, I have no clean shot to move the ball.
Isn't that
forward.
terrible? Doesn't that suck?
And the difference between the ASG Golf and the Action PC is it lays it right on the ASG Golf. You can't do that.
Right.
And so you're frustrated and you're on a stream. I called it a Bucky Dent shot. A Bucky Dent shot. So use Bucky in the right sense. You can get the right word out of that. And so all I could do was just chip it back out in the fairway. And I got myself to within 15 feet for par. I mean, I had to look at par and couldn't sink it.
Yeah.
And that's how close I came to making the cut. And so I think that kind of dovetails nicely into what we're talking about. So remind people again what the topic is.
All right. Well, let me play the music.
Okay.
So we're just going to call it match game, as we want to match the appropriate game to the project we're going to play. So I guess, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Does
Exactly.
Sometimes for me, there's a new game, Stone Cold PC or, Pocket Pen and Run or whatever, a new game comes out, or maybe there's an update or something like that, or a new season or something. And so it's something new I want to try. So I will select the game first, and then I'll find a project to fit the game. And then other times it's, you get the itch. It's like, you see a picture or something, you're like, oh, I want to play this team or this game, or, I think I got several hundred projects going like everybody else. And one of them I was doing, I wanted to play the Houston Oilers that season. Remember the season they lost to Buffalo in the playoffs there when they were up 35-3?
92, yeah.
So I took the Oilers. I don't know if I did 92 or 93, but I wanted to play the Oilers and see how they did either that season or maybe the season after it was, to how they would recover from this. And I was using Football Mogul for that. So I said, I want to play the Oilers, but I don't want to turn this into a 45-minute, an hour and a half game. And Football Mogul, you can play that really fast. You can play that in 15 to 20 minutes.
New version's on sale right now.
Yeah, 40% off the new version. Yep. So yeah, go check out the Football Mogul, the new version there.
There's a code for that. So yeah.
So I decided to on the project first and then fit the game to that. So I decided I'm going to use Football Mogul for this. And then sometimes I have a hockey project, and depending on how big, how long the project is, and how many teams, it will determine whether I use cards and dice, whether I use PC.
Right. So yeah. So to get back to the golf thing, I'm in my baseball off season. We'll pick it back up in January. With that, and that's the primary bread and butter of the channel. It works the best. It just kind of goes, and it takes forever to do. So I'm just not really sold on football projects at this point. It's just not my jam, or at least streaming. We sit there an hour and a half. So I'm trying to think of how do I fill those three lunch times a week. And there'll be a Stone Cold project, which I haven't been able to talk about yet because we couldn't talk about the PC game. And then I'm kind of figuring out, do I want to do boxing? There's some other things that you can do. We've all got 9,000 games, and they're all, pretty well produced. But you want to get into something that you can kind of do, but you don't want to get too involved. And then I got started to think about golf, because golf is my second favorite sport behind baseball. I would say that. And so it's one I like to do. It's one I like to play. And I think both of the PC golf games out there work quite well as a streaming project. I think the graphics are good enough in both games that you're not going to be completely lost, even if you aren't familiar with the sport. But as you and I have talked about offline an awful lot, there are definite pros and definite cons to both of the golf games, Action PC Golf and ASG Golf. And as far as me playing instead of going from, okay, we're going to go to 8 stops and we're going to show you nothing but the leaders over the weekend or however else I was going to do it, I was going to show this project from my perspective as a golfer, because we can suspend reality. And this body isn't one of the greatest 137 golfers of all time. Let's be realistic about that. But, just like you might have done in NHL 94 or Madden or Freddie B over on the Delphi forums, Father Fitzsimmons, put yourself in the game And so, since you're suspending reality anyway, let's take it there. And so, I've got golfers created in both games. Now, Action PC is the best tournament semi thing out there, but it will leave you very, very frustrated because when you make a mistake, you really don't, it's all in a random number generator. And one of the things with a closed engine is you don't know what that mistake is. And you really, golfers, if you chunk a shot, you try to overcorrect the next time. Okay, that's just the way that golf works. And the big Achilles heel in Action PC golf is it really doesn't tell you what you, the golfer, are doing wrong. You have enough of a handicap as it is, depending on the golfers you're playing for's skills. And ASG golf, you get a view of the hole like you would if you were looking in your yardage book. It's a top down. You're playing the bottom. The pin's up at the top. Okay, and everything is based on all your adjustments are based on yardage. So if I'm uphill and have a crosswind and the wind is hindering my shot, I know, okay, I'm 5 yards up the hill from my lie. The wind is going to take me another 10 yards, so I need to add 15 yards to the shot, pick the club, pick the aim. And so to me, it felt more like I'm the golfer. It's one of the reasons why I like strat hockey. I'm the player that I'm making the decisions of what I would do as a player. I'm the golfer. And I thought for me, that would be a better way to show off me as the fake golfer is playing the game that I feel does the best as an individual golfer playing the round as opposed to that. And so that was a conscious decision on my part. And it paid off today because in my second tournament, I missed the cut. But I was able to understand why I missed the cut. I clunked one out of the rough. And so, it's so easy to do when you make that mistake to go offline, to go reset and just do it again. But because God Country and Coca-Cola are watching what I'm doing, you got to go with it and you got to keep your emotions in check. And so that's one of the reasons why I chose that game, because A, it has an open engine, and B, the math is easier. I know I'm thinking, at least that the adjustments I'm making are going to be in line for what you would do on the course. That's a long-winded explanation, but that I thought was the best way to do that.
Yeah, so you wanted to play yourself against the Jack Nicklaus and everybody else, and that you determined that to be the best game for you to do that.
The best game for it. Now, again, price-wise, it's a very expensive game in that. But no, I mean, I wanted me, and hopefully you out there in YouTube land, to put yourself in the shoes of watching somebody just kind of be a scrub and play around a golf and make the decisions. And so I think that was the best for that. And
Cinderella story, coming out of nowhere to lead the pack.
Hey, I went from T48 to T11 down in Australia. So, yes, and so that was a very conscious decision of here's what I want to do. What do I think is going to be best for me to do that? And then if it's comfortable for me, and we'll go to that when I talk about Action PC Baseball in a few minutes, to what I think comes across as a viewer watching that.
Now, another project I did that I'm doing right now, I'm doing the 92-93 Boston Bruins with Hockey Bones. Okay, and now why I chose Hockey Bones for that project was, it was a newer game for me. And I wanted to take on a big project that I knew would take me a long time. Now, obviously, I haven't played it in a couple of months with the summer I've had with concussions and all this other stuff. But I'm going to get back to it. And the reason I chose that over...
John Kiley is going to charge you overtime for the Oregon.
Yeah. The reason why I chose Hockey Bones over some of the other games I got was, A, it was new. B, I wanted to see how... I kept hearing things about the stats with Hockey Bones, how those stats were some of the most accurate stats. So I wanted to play a season out, and I'm keeping just track of the Bruins. Okay, I'm just doing Bruin stats because I'm just playing the Bruins, and I want to see A, what my record's going to be, and B, some of the player stats compared to real life. So I'm kind of using this as a long-term project to test and challenge the game engine, okay? And at the same,
we all do that.
Yeah.
I honestly think we all do that.
yeah, and at the same time, why I went with Hockey Bones on top of testing the game engine and challenging the game per se was it's such an easy setup. Hockey Bones is such an easy setup. There's the one chart. Now, there's a lot to remember in that game, but there's the one chart, and then I have the Peter Miller cheat sheet off to the side, which really helps, and I've made my notes on that, too.
You can get a full game of that in, what, 45?
No. No, that's an hour and a half game.
Okay.
In fact, what I was doing when I was in full swing is I would get up in the morning and I'd play a period with my coffee, and then I get work done or whatever I got to do, maybe come back at lunch, do another period, and then after work at night or late at night, I played the third period. So I'd get in a game a day, but it would be period by period. Sometimes I could do back-to-back periods depending on what was going on that particular day. But I could never really get a game done in one setting because it was it was a long sit.
I want to emphasize for the record, not to tell that today, but for all you out there, there is nothing wrong with that. That's how I do a football game. I just can't do it all in one sitting.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with breaking that down to whatever bite-sized chunk you want to take. If you like the engine, and Dave likes Hockey Bones, there's nothing wrong with taking 2 or 3 days to play a game.
I just find compared to some of the other games I have, there's a lot more thinking in that game. It's not hard. It's just a lot of thinking. So after a period, I like to kind of take a break and give my mind a break with that game. That's just the one game that I get tired after a period. But anyway, so I chose that game for that product for those reasons. It was new. I want to challenge the game engine to see how I do, and it was an easy setup. It was just a couple of charts compared to Apple, where I have 8 charts, and and Strat, which I'm still learning the power play, so I didn't want to do Strat just yet, and I wanted to do cards and dice. I didn't want to do PC. So for that one, I had a project in mind, but I think I chose the game first. And then said, okay, what season do I want to do? I'm always doing 70s. How about if I do 90s brewing? And so they had 92, 93 on sale for Hockey Bones. And I think I got it through Drive-Thru Cards, so I got the nice cards there. And that's what I did. And there's been other other products I've done that I want to do more quick play. So I'll pick up like a Mike Sealock game or something like that, 2-minute drill, and I'll play a full season of that, and because you can play a game in 15 or 20 seconds, and so you can play a whole week in 5 or 10 minutes, and that was kind of fun. So I ended up playing a whole season of that and the whole playoffs with his game because it was a quick play game, Then you get your mid play games, you get your shootout hockeys, and now you get your Stone Cold PC, which are for hockey anyway. They're middle play games. They're going to take you 15, 20 minutes, maybe half hour tops, depending how the game goes. So those are the mid games, and so
Stone Cold,
yeah,
that's Stone Cold and Shootout.
Yeah, Stone Cold Shootout. Yeah, they're right there with the mid play games, and so depending on the product, those I might choose one of those 2 games. When it comes to football, to do a full season, I suppose I could probably do like second season or solitaire pro football and pick one team and just play the 14 games or the 16 games that they play. Because I know it's going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours for each game. But if you're just doing one team, that's fine, especially with the board game there. But then there's other times I want to play on the PC because I want to keep the stats for all the other teams. So, again, sometimes, depending what I want to do, sometimes I say, something, I want to do cards and dice for this, and sometimes I want to do PC. I'm doing Spiders Baseball, and I'm doing that on Strat PC Baseball. And that's just been a lot of fun. And I'm just playing a game here, a game there. I'm simulating the rest. I'm just trying to see how many wins they get on the season.
Okay, but I think the question was, what made you want to pick Strat PC to do the Spiders?
I think I definitely wanted a computer game. Okay, so it was between Action PC and Strat PC.
Right.
And I think I had
Replay doesn't have it, and you can't do it in OOTP.
Right. Yeah. Well, OOTP has it, but they also have the Milwaukee Brewers in 1899. So
right, there are teams that aren't.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I can't do it in OOTP.
Okay.
But so it's come down between the 2 of them, and I kind of figured I just kind of like the cards and dice aspect, and why I think I went with the Strat PC is because it's fairly new. Number one, and number 2. I'm trying to learn the cards and dice version of that game, and when I play that game, I am learning how to play the cards and dice because it's basically PC version of Cards and Dice. So when the dice rolls, I try to see what the result's going to be, and sometimes I'm wrong. So then I say, okay, how am I wrong here? Let me see if I can figure out why I was wrong on what happened here. Because sometimes they play the super advances. There's some different symbols and things I'm unaware of. So I think why I chose that for the Spiders is because I did want to try Strat PC. I liked the dice roll, and I was trying to learn the game. Now, maybe next time I might go back to Action PC. I did try it in Action PC, and I got real frustrated.
I think that was before we did the interview.
Yeah, that's before I knew how bad the Spiders were.
And then once you got the hardcore lesson about that we all got about that, I think now you wouldn't be there. But I think between the projects that we've mentioned, I think we hit all three things. You want to learn a game. You want to trust the game, and then I know the game so well, I think that it just kind of flows. And so this will bring me to why I do my baseball streaming seasons on Action PC. It is a game that I am so familiar with and so comfortable with that I don't see it necessarily as a game sim, that all the results are believable enough to me, even with the closed engine, that the option box there is that when I'm playing those games on stream, and again, regular season isn't very stressful, postseason is extremely stressful, that I'm not seeing it as a game. In my head, I'm seeing the TV angles of the pitchers and the players, and so it just becomes the sport you are trying to emulate. It's already there. And once you get to that level of comfort and trust with a game, then it just is like a hand in glove. I would not do a baseball replay in any other sim to show as a project. There's lots of other baseball sims I like, but I know that for this project, whatever it is I'm going to do, that I'm comfortable with this enough. I'm not fighting with the game. I know what the game's going to give me, that I could just worry about playing whatever the matchup is in front of me, as opposed to, what was this again?
Yeah, well, the other thing something that you haven't said outright, but you kind of said, is you're showing these games off. So when you're going to but what I mean is that, so if you're sitting there and it's like, if I'm sitting there saying, okay, I got a product in mind and I want to play this on YouTube and show it to people, that might affect what game I'm going to play. It might affect what I'm going to play, a board game. It might affect what I'm going to play if I'm going to change a PC game, what PC game it is, what board game it's going to be. Because sometimes some games look a lot and are easy to do on YouTube than others. And so if I'm sitting there thinking, this would be a great product, I have this season and I have 8 games to choose from, do I want to stream it? Do I not want to stream it? How much of this am I going to show? How many stats am I going to keep? So all that factors into it. But if you're going to stream it, you got to figure out, do I really want to set up Cards and Dice every single day for this game, or is it just easier for the PC? And it really depends on what you're trying to do. And I've done kind of a mishmash where I've played APA and I've used Replay Baseball to keep my stats in, and it works fairly good. But it does require some finagling of the setup and 2 cameras going on here, and then trying to show the replay scoreboard and input the stuff in. So some of it's a lot more work if you're trying to show it off, whereas if I was just playing myself and I wasn't worried about showing it off. And sometimes when I play a game like an Apple hockey game or something, or even Hockey Bones, and I'm keeping track of the minutes, so if you watch me, you can see how many minutes in a period, you can see how many shots a team takes. I'm doing twice the work because I'm marking that on my score sheet, and then I'm also marking it in Excel, so I'm doing the work twice. So that game's going to take me almost twice as long to play because I'm doing twice the reporting in that. So I have to keep that in mind. So then when you did your golf game, what's going to be the best one for you to show off what you want to show off, and you wanted to play. So rolling your own dice was the way to go for that.
Right.
In Action PC, it's a very visual game. Not that Strat isn't, but I think Action PC is a little bit more visual than Strat.
You just went from golf to baseball, I think. So,
but what I'm saying is that you are showing off these games. You're playing roster card, right? And
it was, yeah.
You're not really showing that off. So that's one of these games that
there's nothing you can really see.
Yeah, so that's one of these games that if you said, "Hey, I want to play this product and show it off on my Twitch or my YouTube channel," you're probably not going to choose Roster Card.
Even with the board game companion that's on Digital Diamond Baseball, there's not a heck of a lot to see. And the other thing, the two side projects, the 76 Islanders and the 86 Celtics, I'm using Strat for those. And, not showing those off gives me a couple different advantages. If I don't want to play a full game in one sitting, I don't have to. And they're longer play games, and there's lots of this. One of the reasons why I like Strat is that there's plenty of decisions to be made in that. That's, for me, that's what works. But they're not the most visual games on the planet. And again, when you're streaming something, in which the great majority of people who listen to this aren't streaming anything, you got to give people something to see. But for that 20 minutes to an hour that I want that immersion, for me, it works. And again, it doesn't become, yes, there is no such thing as, there is pros and cons with every game. And I know what they are for Strat. I know what they are for Action PC. I know what they are for Second and 10 and all that. But I'm familiar enough, especially with the Strat, that I can overlook the limitations of the game, and it just kind of plays out in front of me. Yeah. I'm the marionette master for that, and they're enjoyable. Yeah. And you know what? I'm 60 games into the Islander replay. I'm almost halfway through the Celtics replay. Now, there's no time limit. I'm not showing it off. So I don't feel like I'm pressed to sit there and go, I need to get some content out there, because that's what I do. So I play when I want, and good, bad, or indifferent.
Yep. And I think the word familiarity, that's a key too, because, you might be sitting there saying, okay, I want to.
I've been playing Strat hockey for 32 years.
Yeah. But I mean, if I'm like, okay, well, what do I want to play here? I want to play this here. Maybe I want to play the playoffs, or maybe I want to play a certain person or whatever. I might not want to take on a game that I'm not that familiar with and struggle with it, because if I start struggling, or if I get frustrated, or if I'm always in the rule book, trying to figure it out, maybe that's not the game for that particular product, because I'm not familiar enough to enjoy it. So maybe a shorter product to learn that new game or to get familiar with that game would be the way to go, rather than saying, hey, okay, I got this new game here. It's game X, and I'm going to play this right here. And then I get in there, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is wrong game for this project, for me personally.
I still think that the ultimate marriage of game and subject matter for you was after Gilles Thibault did the instructional video on Apple Hockey, and you pulled out, was it 1991 or 92, 93?
91 I bought.
Okay, so you had that season, and you put the Kings and the Bruins on the table. And within minutes after watching that video, it wasn't the Arthur Murray Dance Studio moves, which we all go through with a new game. 1, 2, 3, dip. It became the Kings and the Bruins for you within minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the key to anything. And so, again, it goes back to, I want to learn this game. And so if you talk about buying the new game or whatever, what will you do? What project can you do to make that happen? And once you got over the ODAI and what chart to read off of, it became a living, breathing game for you.
And it just worked and it clicked. They really need to put Thibault in the Apple Hall of Fame. They really, really do. What?
Boy. Yeah, he's already there, dude.
What? Oh, yeah. Good. It was a joke. Oh, my gosh.
I know it was a joke.
It blew right by you like the cat.
No, it didn't.
The cat walks in front of you. That went right by you. Oh, my gosh.
No, it didn't. I was waiting for you to... Dave is being his observant self.
There are so many reasons to play a game. So many reasons, to, why you match up a game to a product or a product to a game. We've gone through a few of those today here. Ron likes to stream some of his, so he selects a specific game. Myself, sometimes I like to try a new game. Sometimes I just want to test a game. I have a long product. I have a short product.
I think that those are the three. A simple project to learn a game, a project to test a game with teams that you're already familiar with, and then once you find the right bike to get you to you and where the Ben and Jerry's is in your neighborhood, the right game that fits with that.
Yep, and there's some people that play like one game, and they're like, I play X, I play app, I play strat, I play inside pitch, I play, what OTP, name your game, and they'll just play product after product, and it's like you with Action PC Baseball. It's like they just know the ins and out of it. They can pick it up, and there's no issues with it, and it's like that is pretty cool too when someone can say, yeah, I just played, this is all I play, and I did this team, and then and I've done 10 replays this year with this particular game. That is kind of cool too. That really is
funny. And the funny thing is, there's 2 other baseball sims I really love, but they don't stream all that well. And so you see me playing the Action PC Baseball because it streams well.
Yeah.
But so it's not just okay. It's like, yeah, I'll eat McDonald's. Yeah, I'll eat Burger King. And yeah, I'll eat Wendy's.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, like I said, it depends on the project. It depends what you're in the mood for. It depends what the goal of the project is and everything else. There's so many variables that go in to selecting your game to match your project. And sometimes you select the game first and then fit the product to it. Sometimes you have a project in mind and you fit the game to it. So we want to know from everybody out there, how do you guys handle this? How do you select the game for your particular project? Are you a one game type of guy? Do you like to try different things out? What are the reasons why you would play games A, B, C, and D for a particular project? So we just want to know here. I thought it was a great topic. I know we were kind of all over the board, but the thing is, you're kind of all over the board here.
I think you have to be all over the There isn't a one size fits all to that, and I think we kind of got it down to 3 major avenues: learning, trusting, and then comfort with the game. But there's all sorts of other things, and maybe we didn't even going through with. I saw a YouTube video on X Sport. I'm interested in this, and do I like the sport? Do I want to learn this? And there's all that. Mm-hmm. By the way, you keep making Tebow jokes, he's going to make you come to his house and organize his game closet.
Hey, his team beat Tom Brady this week, so he's feeling pretty good. So, in fact, we got a few people out there in the Pittsburgh area that had fun beating a frustrated Tom Brady last week.
Mike from the truck.
Yep, he was. I saw the pictures he was showing. That was pretty good. So,
yeah.
All right. So we want to know about that from you people. Match game. How do you play match game when you match up a product to a game? All right. So let's get to our 3 stars, shall we?
Yes.
All right. In no particular order, here in episode 155, star number 3 is Bernard.
Woohoo!
Thank you, sir, for being a Patreon, and he's cranking out the products too. It is fun seeing people cranking those out.
Red Sox and Patriot stuff going on.
He's going really well. Number 2 star, Andrew Rothman.
So glad to hear that he got a pretty clean bill of health, considering all he's going through right now.
Yeah, good for him.
I want to, before we go on, send out a special good thoughts and prayers to Greg Sovan.
Okay.
Who was under, I don't know what the specific problem is, but I was wondering why we didn't get the 2022 roster card season. He has been ill the last few weeks as well.
Okay.
And so hopefully that's, we're thinking of you and, Fall Classic Baseball and all that. So.
Okay, yeah, so get better soon. Get better soon. All righty. And then our number 1 star is Craig Harris.
Woohoo!
And
great job between Craig and Matt with the Pocket Pennant Run number 2 rollout Sunday night. We both were there.
Yep. They rolled it out. We talk about all the new things. In fact, we're going to get them on the show either just before or right around release of the new version of Pocket Pennant Run. And
right around their Black Friday show.
Yeah. So we're going to get them on, so we'll talk about that. Maybe they'll have some Black Friday deals. Who knows? But they went over everything here about the new stuff there. So I want to have them on and see, get it right from them, and they can tell you what's going on with the new Pocket Pennant Run. But so Bernard, Andrew Rothman, and Craig Harris, thank you so much for supporting the show.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's fade out here. Yeah, by the numbers, episode 155 of the Digital Dice Podcast. And ways to get a hold of us, digitaldice.com is our website. 978-751-DICE is how you can text us. digitaldice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digital2dice. Ron, thanks for joining me here today.
As always.
And what are you going to be playing tonight?
Maybe a little Stone Cold.
Yeah, want to check out the new version of that.
Yeah.
As that inches closer to release.
So excited.
It is. All right, so we'll talk to everybody later.
Bye-bye.